Schools are now deploying Edge AI at every scale of the campus estate. It runs on premium aggregation gateways for site-wide CCTV and inside small, cost-optimized modules embedded in classroom accessibility tools. When it comes time to buy these systems, school IT departments tend to evaluate them exactly like traditional tech. They look at hardware specifications, they compare processing speeds, they check raw tera operations per second, or TOPS. Procuring these devices as if they were simple network switches creates a massive blind spot. An Edge AI camera is a regulated decision-making system. It actively analyzes and infers information about the people in front of it. Buying AI based solely on hardware specifications ignores how the system arrives at its decisions. Without built-in constraints, the technology operates with unchecked autonomy, creating immediate and unmanaged safeguarding risks for the entire trust. In the UK, these systems are governed by strict legal frameworks. Schools must navigate the Data Protection Act, the Information Commissioner's Office Children's Code, and the Online Safety Act. Under these laws, the Multi-Academy Trust immediately assumes the legal classification of a deployer the very second a device runs an AI model on a student's personally identifiable signal. The burden of proof falls on the deployer. Off-the-shelf smart hardware, shipped without a credible built-in accountability layer, automatically fails legal and safeguarding scrutiny. If you cannot prove exactly what the AI is analyzing, you are operating unlawfully. MAT leadership faces a binary choice. You can proceed with frictionless consumer hardware procurement and absorb extreme legal liability, or you can demand a rigorous, multi-layered compliance architecture that guarantees lawful operation. Navigating regulatory scrutiny requires a shift from standard IT procurement to a structured 5-layer compliance architecture. This framework maps every hardware function to a specific legal requirement. Layer 1, the device tiers, addresses both extremes: premium aggregation gateways for CCTV and low-cost embedded modules in classroom tools. Forcing both under the same compliance umbrella is a strict requirement. Otherwise, the school accidentally runs two parallel, disjointed surveillance networks. This forces an operational trade-off. A unified system requires a centralized fleet management strategy. Schools can no longer buy one-off smart classroom tools on a teacher's credit card. Every piece of AI hardware must sit inside the unified trust pipeline. By unifying Layer 1, you stop rogue surveillance silos from forming across campuses. But to achieve that, the trust must completely abandon ad hoc hardware purchasing. Once the hardware is unified, the system needs physical boundaries. Layer 2, the runtime safety middleware, and Layer 3, the policy as code envelope, dictate exactly what the AI can and cannot do. Policy as code rules explicitly instruct the system. You allow basic occupancy tracking, while physically forbidding emotion inferences or biometric matching. The AI is blocked from unbounded autonomy, forced to behave within the Keeping Children Safe in Education guidelines. This eliminates the plug-and-play convenience of modern AI. MAT leadership must sit down and do the difficult, upfront work of defining these explicit boundaries before a single camera is ever turned on. Frictionless setup in AI is a massive legal red flag. Safe, lawful deployment requires the friction of explicit, upfront boundary setting by the school's leadership. The architecture then addresses governance. Layer 4 is the telemetry and audit ledger, owned directly by the school's data protection officer. Layer 4 operates as an append-only cryptographic log. It records every single consequential AI inference made across the entire school estate. Layer 4 provides undeniable proof to regulators of what the AI inferred. It logs only mathematical data, never raw video of the child. However, if an alert is logged and ignored, the trust cannot claim ignorance. The evidence is cryptographically sealed. A comprehensive audit ledger protects the trust from regulatory fines, but it legally obligates the school to act immediately on the data it collects. The capstone of the architecture is Layer 5, the Human Oversight Surface. KCSEE 2025 mandates effective human oversight. A blinking light on a ceiling camera or a dashboard monitored by a third-party IT center does not meet that legal standard. This schematic shows how compliance is achieved. Operator-readable AI alerts bypass generic IT support, routing directly to the school's named designated safeguarding lead. The DSL has first-class intervention controls to instantly pause inferences or take the entire system offline right from their dashboard. This architecture places the daily operational burden squarely on your internal safeguarding staff. Leadership can no longer outsource the problem to the IT department. Lawful AI requires tools built specifically for direct human intervention. The technology must be permanently tied to the school's internal safeguarding accountability. Implementing this framework requires changing how your school operates. The buying center has to shift. The data protection officer, the safeguarding lead, and the CEO must be in the room evaluating the technology before any hardware demo takes place, not after the contract is signed. You can immediately separate compliant technology partners from consumer hardware salespeople by using a simple vendor test. This scorecard shows the 4 data room demands you must enforce on the very first call. Ask the vendor for a pre-filled data protection impact assessment template, their explicit policy as code bounds, a sample of their cryptographic audit log, and visual proof of their DSL dashboard controls. If a vendor pitches you processing power and pixel rates, but cannot provide these specific legal artifacts up front, the system is not procurement grade. You must walk away. True procurement power in the AI era comes from demanding actionable legal artifacts, not simply chasing hardware specifications. This 5-layer compliance path is designed specifically for MAT leaders, CEOs, and DPOs who want to safely leverage Edge AI for accessibility and attendance tracking while operating strictly within the bounds of UK law. If your institution is looking for cheap, quick-fix consumer surveillance gear, or if your IT department views legal compliance as post-installation red tape, this architecture is not for you. MATs must accept the initial friction of defining strict policies and maintaining rigorous auditing requirements from the very beginning. You trade that upfront friction for zero legal risk and complete defensibility. Implementing a compliant architecture secures the school's legal and ethical standing. It creates the technical environment where human judgment can function effectively and remains the final authority.